Just 3 days left in 2009. Time to look at the trends that could impact all of our lives in 2010. My next guest is Gerald Celente. He is director and founder of the Trends Research Institute, the perfect guy to have. And he prides himself on a strong track record of accurate predictions which help his corporate clients make critical decisions. His company has a list of the top trends of 2010. Jerry, let's start with, well, first of all, Panic of 2008. You were spot on in the Panic of 2008. You talk about the crash of 2010. What's that about?
Well, all this bailout and stimulus is going to be running out. We had the cash for clunkers. We've had all this real estate boost with the tax credits. We've had the stimulus. We had TARP. The money chain's running out. And it's global, by the way. $5.5 trillion worth of money has been dumped into the system to pump it up after the market collapsed in March of 2009.
So after that money's spent, you think we're going to go right back to where we were?
Going back to where we were, and worse, because now you have all this debt piled on top of it. You can't print phantom money out of thin air, backed by nothing and producing practically nothing without destroying the economy.
You pay for it with inflation.
Exactly.
So how much inflation
are you going to have? Maybe devaluation.
The same thing. It has the same effect on the currency. It means we are going to be, the money we have in our pocket will buy a lot less.
You got it.
So how much less? How about, are you talking hyperinflation, 1,000% a year?
Maybe start at 40% less.
40%.
That's what we're looking at.
Well, what is that going to lead to in our society?
The greatest depression that's coming along the line. Go back to the Great Depression. I'll tell you why it's worse. Back then, the government had trade surpluses. We had balanced trade. We didn't have negative. We were in the positive. The consumer wasn't $14 trillion worth of debt. It's a whole different story. And back then, when we got out of the Depression, what got us out? World War II, a manufacturing capacity. We don't have that anymore.
Productivity right now is so much greater, infinitely greater than it was back then in terms of what computers can do. We're not going to have a dust bowl because we have the GPS systems that allow farmers to farm in the right way and everything.
We don't have the productive capacity. We were a manufacturing giant back then. Now everything is coming from somewhere else. So we rebuilt the world during the war and after the war.
But that's only a problem if we have protectionism, which you say we are going to start to have.
It's already happening. We see tariffs on Chinese tires, on tubing. Over 200 trade barriers have been put up around the world. As economies decline, trade barriers are going to go up. Not made in China is going to become a mantra in the not-too-distant future.
So we're going to have the kind of protectionist barriers that, because we don't have a manufacturing base anymore in the United States, are going to lead to shortages, terrible shortages here in the United States.
That could very well happen.
Now, what about immigration? You suggest that we're going to have immigration problems as well as the unemployment goes even higher than 10%.
Again, a global issue, whether it's Italy, Spain, you name the country, the U.S., here's the numbers. It took 100,000 years to put 1.5 billion people on the planet in 1900. We've added 5 billion people. So during times of economic boom, you bring in cheap labor. Now it's economic bust. They want the labor to go home. So you're going to see anti-immigration become a major political issue worldwide in the developed nations, and also the genesis of a new third party in America.
Which party will that be?
We don't have
the anti-immigrant party, or
no,
what?
No, it's going to have a number of. We saw it with the tax protests. That's another element of the.
That's a libertarian movement, not necessarily affiliated though with the anti-immigration sentiment.
It's again, there's many different elements tied into it. It's anti-immigration. It's protectionism. It's against big corporate. It's against foreign entanglements. It's against the Fed. It's against taxation without representation.
So we are going to have a real third party that is going to be a contender with the Republicans and the Democrats.
We believe so. And just for a little track record, I came out with a book, Trend Tracking, back in 1988. I'd forecast a new third party, and for some reason I mentioned Ross Perot. We're looking at that same kind of atmosphere, but juiced up to a much higher level, and now the Internet makes it possible to happen.
Gerald Celente. Good to see you, Gerald. Thanks for being here.
Hey,
Appreciate it.